Alright guys, welcome back to another Infinity Game Table video, and today we're taking a look at some games that have come out in the last couple of weeks. I have been a little bit MIA when it comes to the Arcade1Up Infinity Game Table because the PSVR 2 came out. For those of you guys who watch my channel and love VR and stuff, that was a new headset that just came out for the PlayStation 5. So I've had a lot of videos to make for that. I'm still going through them, I'm still not done yet, but found a little downtime and figure I'd show you guys some of the games that came out here so you guys can get an idea of more games that are coming out on the Infinity Game Table. We're going to go ahead and start here at the back. And one of the things that I will mention that I talked about in a previous video that is now definitely official, you will see an ad over here in the corner that actually is showcasing the fact that there is a new dashboard coming out. So as soon as that dashboard is out, I'll definitely be showcasing all the new features for you guys and doing a video on that new dashboard. But I'm really excited that we are finally getting a new dashboard to kind of change this up and get some customization options and stuff like that. But super excited that's being advertised to everyone on the table already, but that is definitely coming, and look out for that video coming shortly. So the first game we're going to be taking a look at, we're going to be doing these games rapid fire because there's a few that we've missed, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of each. And this is 80 Days. 80 Days is a game on the Infinity Game Table that you guys probably recognize by name, and that game is, and the reason you recognize that is because it is a game that has been around, I think, since 2014, and it's been around on like iPhone, iOS, Android, and other platforms as well. Where you're trying to just go through, it's a story-based game, and you're trying to take the best route, and there's a bunch of different choices in the story, and each time you do it, it's completely different than other times, as you can see here. Right now, it's asking you how to start. I've entered into the service of a new gentleman, it would seem, and then you're just waiting for that to load here. There we go. Go ahead and click the arrow there to go down, and then you can see the presentation here. I don't know how many of you guys remember this game from back in the day, but I never played the game, but I definitely remember hearing it all the time back in the day for sure. You can see here it starts off when you click on London. And there's a little London picture here, and you hit begin. So obviously it starts off with a story, and this game is really replayable too. It's not like a set story because a lot of the options that you get lead to different branching paths of the story from everything I've always heard about this game. And it's, so it's very replayable. Even if you play through it once, taking different paths and different options is going to create a whole new story that wasn't there the first time. So at least that's what I've heard about the game, when it came out years ago. So you can see here he has returned home early from the Reform Club and in a newfangled steam carriage besides. You only have one option, which is I help him in this case. And in the iron lunge, steam-driven horse clattered away. And then here's where you start getting options. He's where it says we are going around the world, and it says, and you can ask either, are we going around the world? And then he says, very good. So you can choose whichever one. Let's say I choose around the world. It continues with the branching story. We shall circumnavigate the globe within 80 days. He was quite calm as he proposed this wild scheme. We leave for Paris on the 8:25 in an hour. And then you have your three options, but I've not prepared. You are just, this was shocking and turnabout. Let's say I say I have not prepared. You get different story options and stuff. You can see there's a little score counter going on. And then it says, then do it now, pack an altimeter and my evening jacket. There is not a moment to waste. So then you hit the arrow down, so you go ahead and continue to the next scene. You can see that now we're going to Paris, just like the story said, as we navigate to the new stuff. And then it sees, you can see here it says pack, so you can go ahead and pack your stuff. There was just a moment to seize anything further than I thought might be useful for a long trip. So basically this is the apartment that you're looking at right here, and then this is the bottom. This is like your suitcase where you're trying to grab whatever you want to grab. Let's say you grab the evening jacket. You grab the evening jacket, that goes there. Let's say that you grab this and you put that right here. And let's say you're not going to have room for everything. Let's go ahead and say that you grab the timetable right here and you leave the playing cards and stuff behind because you can't grab everything else. So then you back out of here. Talking about new routes that we discovered, so you can see there's a lot of things that you can travel through, a lot of different areas to kind of go through. Going through Rome and all that kind of stuff. A lot of different routes that you can take on here. So we were already packed, so now you go ahead and hit depart, and here we go. We are embarking. The guard's van has space for one suitcase, which will suffice. Travel, the promise to be a bearable experience. So here we go. Nice sound effects as you travel across from London to Paris. You can see the day one, so like again, the whole point of this game is to travel in 80 days. And then you can see you have the story here as you continue to progress. Obviously, I can't show you this game. This is a game that's impossible for me to cover in a review because it's obviously a story-based game, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of what you're doing. There's different things that happen in the game. You're going through, trying to go through 80 days and using the, taking care of your money, going through, listening to this, reading the story, and going through all the different locations that you saw, essentially traveling the world in 80 days by going to different locations, exploring them. They all have their own artwork in the background. They all have their own story. And the story branches off into different locations that you're going to depending on what you actually choose. So every time you play this game, it's going to be different outcomes depending on what you actually choose in the story. So if you're into games like storybook adventures where you're kind of like or reading through things and branching paths to different storylines, this will definitely be fun. Again, this was a game that was highly regarded back in the day. It was a fantastic game. So this is not like a throwaway game or anything. Even though it has existed on Android and iOS, years ago, it's still a really, really solid game that a lot of people have loved for years. So it's definitely cool to see this game kind of make its way back over here for those of us who maybe have never seen this game before, like me. I've never played this game. Kind of have it on this giant platform here. It looks to run well. Graphics look good. And, we'll see how this game goes. But this is 80 Days that is now available on the Infinity Game Table. The next game that came out here is Basketball Rivals that you guys can take a look at here. And this game just came out. You could do player versus computer, or you can also do person versus person, so 1v1. And we're going to go ahead and, of course, do the computer. And as you can see here, what you're doing is you're kind of just hopping around. And he just dunked all over me. Basically, your guy just keeps jumping, and you're trying to... His hands keep moving, so that's what you're doing. And every time you move these arrows, he jumps in a different direction. And you're trying to grab... He just dunked. You're trying to just move this ball. Trying to get on here. I tried to grab it, but I missed. Block that for him. Definitely hard to get your hands on here. He dunked it on me again. I'm doing terrible. So this is kind of like a quick, simple game. Kids will probably get a kick out of this. Obviously, there's 1v1 and stuff like that. The controls are fine. They're just, really unique is what I'm going to call it, where it's a little bit hard to control. Oh, my God, I just scored. I'll take it. I ain't even mad. But yeah, it's just a fun, quirky game that you play on here with your kids and stuff like that who are going to, have some fun with this. Not a game you're going to keep coming back to or anything like that. Not a game that you're going to see me play on here a lot because I don't have kids or anything. But it does serve a purpose for families who are looking for a game like this. Damn, I just had it. And yeah, that's how this game functions. I mean, it's a very simplistic game. You guys will know if you like this type of game or not on the Infinity Game Table. It is cool that it has 1v1 to play a game like this, and that's kind of how this game works. The next game we're going to be taking a look at here is Curse of the Minotaur. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's the next game here. You can see here at the main menu, and you see you have the exit over here. The settings over there that you can take a look at, and this indicates a zone where a maze piece can be placed, and then there's puzzle pieces that you're looking for, and stuff like that. And then that's a Discord if you want to go ahead and join the Discord right from here. So let's exit this out. Let's go ahead and start to show you guys how this game works. Got this creepy vibe with a character, with a person talking.
3 map pieces. Place one of your choice and build toward the first puzzle room.
So essentially what happens is you're getting 3 puzzle pieces here. And
interesting start. Now the dreamer gets to place one. It is their dream after all.
So essentially you get these 3 pieces that you get to choose from, and you actually get to... The first part of the game is basically making the dungeon, and you get to place some of the pieces down, but then the dungeon master or the dreamer there is going to completely do the rest of it right here. So let's say I put this right.
Not what I would have chosen, but a fine choice all the same.
So we can place that right there. And then we are essentially building this tile piece here that's going to make the dungeon different every time you play it. Now it's telling you to build towards the middle, and you can do it any way you want. I can build it from over here or over there. That's where all the gray pieces are coming from. Let's say I build this direction. Again, you're gonna build some of the dungeon, but the the Minotaur is also gonna completely fill out this dungeon and complete it for you as well once you get to here.
Think they will make it out. Right. Only one way to find out. On to the last.
So you're essentially building the dungeon, and then you're gonna have to escape this dungeon. And again, the pieces are gonna shuffle, and it's not gonna just be your pieces that you built, but you're also gonna be working with whatever pieces he added as well.
My turn.
See, he now places the rest of the maze pieces for the both of you to navigate. So now he's placing the rest of these.
To navigate. Dreamer, you need to solve both puzzles and escape through the middle room. I will give you 3 chances, but only if you make it amusing.
So basically the whole idea is you're trying to escape this dungeon now that you created and he created with the rest of these pieces by formulating and getting to those puzzles that we saw before. We know one was around here and one was over there. You got to get to those puzzles, solve those puzzles, and then escape the dungeon right here in the middle here. So you can see my player right here is moving as I go through the dungeon. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to go down here. Now you want to move across the dungeon. Sometimes you're going to hit something. There's the first puzzle piece. And this is the first puzzle piece that you need to actually solve. There we go. That was obviously a puzzle about just making those two go together and solving that puzzle, so that was good. We continue on through the dungeon here. Scrolling through. We know the other dungeon or the other puzzle piece is somewhere in the middle. Oh, can't get hit by that guy. We gotta go. Oh, we clicked the trap. Click the ruin. We'll click that one. So sometimes there's traps and monsters that pop up that are obviously trying to kill you, and you only have 3 hearts, just like it says up there, to escape the dungeon. Trying to remember how I actually got up here without... Oh, we just hit that trap again. I don't know why I did that. And we just got hit.
Himself could not have taken that blow. Well,
and then you start all the way back in the beginning too, after getting hit. So that's not good. So you only have 3 chances to essentially memorize where you're going in the dungeon and not get caught by anything. That's that other puzzle piece.
hurry now, dreamer. Escape before he finds
So that guy's following you around. You want to make sure you get out of this dungeon before he finds you. I see him right there.
Congratulations are in order. I cannot wait.
And you can see I have successfully escaped the dungeon there.
Now I must go. I have 7 new acquaintances.
In the help icon here, or in the settings here, you can see the 2 different puzzles. Puzzle 1, tap the boxes to reveal different ruins, find the matching pairs. And then the second one is after the initial spiral, tap the ruins in the order in which they are highlighted. So it does get harder sometimes, but that's essentially what you're trying to do. You're trying to go through this dungeon, trying to escape it before that person catches you by first manipulating the dungeon and placing out the tiles the way you want. He fills in the rest of it, and then you have to get to the 2 puzzles like I did. I got the first one, then the second one, and then find the middle ruin and get out of there before getting trapped. I survived with 1 life and got out of that dungeon. So if you guys are into a game like this, check this one out on the Infinity Game Store, Curse of the Minotaur. So the next game we're going to talk about here is Rummy. Rummy is a game that we're all really familiar with, and this lets you play with up to 4 players in Rummy. You can either add AI players, which is great that this game has AI, or you can convert them into players here. For the time being, we're just going to go ahead and do all bots so you guys can see, and then I'm going to be the player right here and hit play. So this is exactly what Rummy looks like. When you take your turn, you go ahead and draw one from the pile there, and then of course you're trying to make the piles right there, and then of course you can pass with using this button, or sorry, shuffle your cards if you need to right here if you're trying to create different sets. Put a 5 over that other 5. Then the other players take their turn, and then it comes back to you. You can see that they're trying to do a combination there. Now it's my turn to go ahead and pick something. Let's say that I don't really have any great cards here, but I could put this 3 over here and put it right there. And then I could take my Joker and put that right there. Could take this 9 and put that 9 right there. So this Rummy game does work really well, has a nice look to it. Of course, the cards look good. Music in the background is fine. And then it's great that you can play with up to 4 players, and it's great that it also has AI as well, which in my opinion is really important, so we can all go ahead and, you know, kind of get in there and do that correctly here. So game works really well. This is what Rummy looks like on the Infinity game table. If you guys are fans of Rummy, then obviously you have this game here for you. You can go ahead and play Rummy with, again, up to 4 players, AI, and a mix of combination with AI and real players. And then you can use the dashboards to obviously hide your cards, because obviously in a game like this, you don't want your cards to be shown. So you can have those little plastic pieces that I've shown off in the past to cover your cards. And the other game that we're going to be talking about here is Silvestre. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I think that's how it's pronounced. You can look at it right here. You got your options here. We're going to go ahead and hit play, and you can see the levels. You got the jungle right here, and you can see what this game is like. It's an arcade type game where you move around and shoot things as you are moving around, so can't hit him from here. You can use the jump feature, and I'm terrible at this game. Let's try this again. Let's get out. Got him. Got him. Got an AK over here. I didn't even notice. We can swap. You can go ahead and move around. He's dead. Oh, I just hit that. Didn't even notice. That was not good. But I think you guys get the idea of what this game is like. You're going through these levels. It's a side scroller. It's a side scroller shooter, and apparently really, really hard because I'm really bad at it. It's also really hard to just play a game like this with a lot of controls because you have to use the left and right, and you have to jump up half the time, and you got to use the shoot button. So it definitely isn't easy to play. That's for sure, because you'll have to use all the on-screen, buttons here at the same time. And I just ran right into it again. I don't even know what I'm doing. But it is like, again, this is another one that I would say is like for kids on here that I think they'll have fun with and they can, mess around with and stuff. Again, it's not something I'm going to come back to that often because I'm looking for more board game type games on here or just fun games in general. And this one for me, even though the game looks fun, it does look like, it's hard to control because obviously there's a lot of different buttons. You got to like use all these buttons at the same time. You got to jump up. You gotta move side to side, all these different things, and you gotta shoot. So it's not easy to control. But if you're into these type of arcade experiences on here and you have kids and stuff, this one could be another fun one for you to enjoy. And those are all the games that I wanted to talk to you guys about today, guys. These are all the ones that I released on the Infinity game table. What I'm really excited about right now is the new dashboard update that's going to be coming. I can't wait to see what that looks like. I think that's the most exciting thing about everything going on right now. I think for the games that we talked about today, I think the ones that I obviously have more interested in, 80 Days is a great one to have on here. I think 80 Days is a good one to get on here, even though it's not, a board game per se and stuff like that. It's a storybook adventure. It's a renowned game that people have known about for years, and it's a fun game to have on here. So I think that one was good. Rummy was done well. It's the way that Spades and the other ones have done on here. So I think people will have a fun time with that one. And the Curse of the Minotaur is an interesting game. I don't know how much mileage you'll get out of that playing over and over again. But it is a cool game to be able to build your dungeon and stuff like that. The other two are definitely the basketball one and the last one that we showed off there. Even though the graphics look good, it's not something that I can say that I'll be playing a lot. And it's not mostly because there's something wrong with the game per se, but it's just the fact that you're using these giant touchscreen buttons on the bottom makes it hard to actually hit them, especially that last game. If I got to hit up, down, left, right at the same time, it takes a while to get used to, but again, kids will have fun with that using giant buttons because I know they would, and they might have fun with it, but it's not something, I'm going to be playing all the time. The basketball one was more fun than the last one, even though, it's just weird how your arms are swinging the whole entire time. But that one at least has 2-player mode where you can get a kick out of. That last one just seems like the controls, you'll be battling that really hard to be able to do it, and there it is showing up right there. battling those controls. That game obviously would work a lot better with a controller, which obviously is not an option on here. Having all that said, like I said, my favorite ones on here that I talked about was 80 Days and Rummy. I think those are two great additions out of the category of games that I talked about today that you guys should definitely check out. And I would say that we're all looking forward to the same thing. I can't wait for the next big board game title. We obviously got Risk at the end of 2022, and I'm waiting to see what splash they're going to make with the next big board game on here. You know, having these little games on here is great. 80 Days was a good get. Rummy is fantastic. But I want to see the next big board game coming from either them or from a third-party publisher. That's going to make us all excited, just like Risk did or just like Tapple did when that came out, you know, stuff like that. Can't wait to see what they have. I know they said that they do have something cooking out there, so we'll see what that may be, and I'm excited to cover that. The next thing we hopefully get is that new dashboard because it's definitely severely needed. Other than that, guys, if you guys have any questions about anything you guys have seen in today's video, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.